Hello, Kentucky friends. This was an unexpected and shocking move for Kentucky. Have you been following the latest news? Let's get to the updates. Braylon Mullins' departure from the Kentucky Wildcats recruitment list marks a decisive point in the current recruitment race for the 2025 basketball program, led by Mark Pope. Mullins, who was widely considered one of the top prospects available, especially for his shooting ability, has decided to shift his focus to other institutions, leaving Kentucky out of his top three finalists. Indiana, UConn, and North Carolina are now competing for the chance to secure the young talent's commitment, according to Joe Tipton from On3. For many observers, this is a considerable twist in the recruitment saga, as Kentucky was at one point seen as one of the main favorites in the Mullins contest. The player's official visit to Lexington, scheduled for October, suggested growing expectations that he could be the next big name to join the Wildcats. However, the situation changed drastically with the arrival of Jasper Johnson, another high-caliber recruit from the class of 2025, who recently committed his future to Kentucky. Johnson's commitment, considered one of the top prospects in the country, appears to have shifted the direction of Pope's recruitment strategy and his coaching staff. Mullins' talent is undeniable. Currently ranked as the 35th best player nationally by On3, he has stood out not just for his deadly long-range accuracy, but also for his game vision, making him a versatile threat on offense. For a coach like Mark Pope, who values an offense based on quick ball movement and precise shooting, Mullins would have been a valuable piece in the tactical scheme. His absence, therefore, is a loss that might weigh heavily, especially considering he would have been an excellent addition to complement Jasper Johnson. Nevertheless, Mullins' decision can be seen as a direct reflection of Kentucky's growing strength in another crucial target, Caden Lewis. With rumors that the Wildcats are increasingly confident about securing Lewis's commitment, Mullins' withdrawal may be less an indication of failure and more a sign of Pope's clear strategy. The coaching staff may have opted to concentrate their efforts on Lewis, an equally talented athlete who could bring a different dynamic to Kentucky's backcourt. Although Mullins' departure may seem like a setback, there's no doubt that the total focus on Lewis shows that Pope is carefully planning the future of his roster. Caden Lewis, another highly touted name in the 2025 recruitment cycle, could form an explosive duo with Johnson, providing the Wildcats with a talent combination that promises to keep the team competitive at a high level for the coming years. Still, the pressure is on the coaching staff to secure this commitment or quickly find a suitable heavyweight alternative that fits into Pope's game plan. This all-in approach for Lewis might prove to be a smart move, but it also raises the stakes for a positive outcome in negotiations with the athlete. With Mullins out of the race, Pope will have to ensure that any gap left by his departure is adequately filled, whether by Lewis or another elite recruit. What is certain is that, even with Mullins' recent loss, Kentucky's future still looks promising. It's important to point out that, despite not securing Mullins, this doesn't mean Kentucky has failed in its recruitment process. On the contrary, the team is still very well positioned to secure some of the biggest talents in the class of 2025. In addition to Lewis and Johnson, the Wildcats continue to monitor other prospects that could fit perfectly into Pope's scheme. The coach has shown a notable ability to identify and develop players who often surprise in their first seasons, and there's no reason to believe this will change now. Mullins' departure can also be viewed from another angle: the growing competitiveness in college basketball recruitment. Programs like Indiana, UConn, and North Carolina are not easy opponents, and Kentucky's ability to compete at this level, especially with Mark Pope at the helm, demonstrates that the Wildcats are more committed than ever to remaining among the top programs in the country. With Braylon Mullins cutting Kentucky from his list of options, the pressure now squarely falls on Coach Mark Pope and his coaching staff to secure two other crucial targets: five-star forward Caleb Wilson and four-star guard Caden Lewis. The loss of Mullins, one of the best shooters in the 2025 class, has heightened the importance of these two players who could define the course of the Wildcats next season and, more than ever, mark the recruiting class as one of the most significant of Pope's tenure. The buzz on social media, especially on Twitter, has reflected the closeness between Wilson and current Kentucky recruits Malachi Moreno and Jasper Johnson. This trio, if solidified, has the potential to form a strong foundation for the Wildcats, with Wilson bringing versatility and offensive skill that ranks him among the top players in the country. Moreno and Johnson, in turn, are actively involved, and their interactions with Wilson on social media are not just displays of camaraderie, but a strategic effort to ensure that Kentucky remains on the radar of the five-star forward. Wilson, who has already proven to be a dynamic and high-impact talent, would be a key piece for any college basketball team. His ability to contribute in multiple areas of the court, both defensively and offensively, makes him an immediate impact player. And for Mark Pope, securing an athlete of this caliber would be a masterstroke, especially after the loss of Mullins. It is in this context that the importance of a Caden Lewis also gains momentum. Lewis, who made an unofficial visit to Kentucky in June, has been gaining increasing traction within the Wildcats' recruitment efforts. The four-star guard may not have the same cachet as Wilson, but his addition would be strategic for Pope's game system, offering a solid option at point guard alongside Jasper Johnson. Kentucky, since making a formal offer to Lewis, has been gaining ground, and Coach Pope seems determined to ensure that this visit was not in vain. The pressure on Pope has substantially increased with the loss of Mullins, but he has already demonstrated his ability to handle the intensity of recruitment at the highest level. So far, the class of 2025 is shaping up as one of the most promising, but adding both Lewis and Wilson would raise expectations to something even more grandiose. The impact of these potential additions would be not only in terms of raw talent, but also in the potential to create a cohesive core of players who could dominate the SEC and beyond. Wilson, who has been courted by other elite programs, is not an easy catch. But the strength of the relationship between him, Moreno, and Johnson might be the tipping factor that allows Kentucky to swing the balance in its favor. The Twitter interactions between them are indicative that there is an understanding and a desire to build something special together, and Pope is aware of the importance of nurturing this dynamic. On the other hand, Caden Lewis brings a unique combination of game vision and defensive skills, something that would fit perfectly into Pope's scheme. The coach knows that the modern game requires versatile guards who can defend multiple positions and simultaneously orchestrate the offense with intelligence. Lewis meets these criteria and could complement Johnson well, forming an explosive duo in the backcourt. If Pope can secure Lewis and Wilson, the scenario in Lexington would become incredibly promising. These additions, combined with Moreno and Johnson, could transform the Kentucky Wildcats into one of the most feared teams of the next decade, creating a solid foundation for the future of the university's basketball. While Mullins' cut was a setback, Pope's immediate focus should be on ensuring that this does not define the 2025 recruitment cycle. Clearly, the pressure is now high. Kentucky needs to secure at least one of the two recruits, but ideally both, to maintain momentum on the national stage. The competition is fierce, with other elite programs trying the same strategy, but the Wildcats have a track record of success that continues to attract top talents. Pope has the opportunity to further consolidate his reputation as one of the best recruiters in college basketball, and all signs indicate that he is up for the challenge. Let's move forward, because recruitment is heating up, and have you hit the subscribe button yet? Mark Pope is bringing an innovative approach to Kentucky basketball that has been likened to the style of Hal Mumm, the legendary football coach known for his revolutionary air raid offense. Like Mumm, Pope adopts a bold offensive philosophy, prioritizing speed, transition, and a let-the-ball-fly mentality. This comparison was made by none other than Dennis Johnson, one of the greatest football legends from Kentucky, who now sees his son, five-star guard Jasper Johnson, committed to Pope's program. For Dennis, Pope's offensive style closely resembles Mum's fearless approach, which did not shy away from taking risks even in the most adverse situations. Dennis Johnson, who played under Mum and made history with records and achievements in Kentucky football, believes his son is in good hands. He sees in Pope an elite offensive mind, someone capable of shaping Jasper not just as a prolific scorer, but as an intelligent passer, underrated in his ability to involve his teammates. Just as Mum transformed football with his air raid mentality, Pope is applying a similar approach to Kentucky basketball, something that is already attracting significant attention and excitement among fans and players alike. For Jasper, Pope's offensive system is a perfect match. He is a player who loves to shoot the ball, and with Pope's philosophy of quick transition and focus on shooting, young Johnson will have plenty of opportunities to shine. Dennis Johnson highlighted how his son will fit into this dynamic style of play, comparing it to Mum's attack, which was fearless in taking risks, even in critical situations. Mum's go for it on 4th and 30 mindset finds a parallel in Pope's approach, which allows his players to take calculated risks and fully explore their offensive talent. Dennis Johnson also emphasized that, while Jasper is widely viewed as a scorer, his game-reading ability and capacity to involve his teammates is an underrated skill. Pope, being an offensive guru, is prepared to maximize this potential, offering Jasper the chance to evolve not only as a finisher, but as a point guard who can dictate the pace of the game and facilitate the offense for everyone around him. The style of play implemented by Pope is clearly influenced by NBA philosophies, where the intelligent use of plays like pick and rolls and direct handoffs is crucial. This positions Kentucky uniquely in the college landscape, with a style that attracts players who dream of preparing for the professional level. However, like any innovative system, there are moments of adjustment. Dennis was clear in telling Pope that Jasper might, on occasion, get carried away and attempt a shot from 35 or 40 feet. Pope's response? We'll work with that. This flexibility and confidence in Jasper's natural talent indicate that Pope is willing to give his players the freedom to make mistakes and learn from them, while continuing to grow within a robust defensive system. With the recruitment of Jasper Johnson, Pope has already taken a significant step in building his class of 2025. However, the pressure on Kentucky's coach is still high, especially with other important recruits, such as Caleb Wilson and Caden Lewis, still on the radar. Wilson, a 5-star forward, and Lewis, a 4-star guard, are key pieces that could transform Pope's class into one of the most promising of the last decade. If Pope can bring these two talents to Kentucky, the team will be set to compete at the highest level for years. Mark Pope's bet on a fast and aggressive style of play is starting to bear fruit. His impact on recruiting is already being felt, and the comparison with Hal Mumm is not just nostalgic, but also a reflection of the boldness he brings to Kentucky basketball. Just as Mumm took Wildcats football to new heights with his fearless offensive approach, Pope is ready to do the same in basketball, with a philosophy that values player creative freedom and a frenetic pace of play. The opportunity to transform the Wildcats basketball program into a modern powerhouse, with an offensive philosophy that would even make Hal Mumm proud, continues. Game on? Adam Balaganali, a 4-star linebacker from the class of 2026, is a name that has been gaining increasing attention in the college football recruiting scene, especially after his visit to the Kentucky Wildcats. The program was the first in the SEC to offer a scholarship to the young talent in April 2023, and since then, other conference powerhouses such as Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Missouri, and Texas A&M have followed suit. This intense competition is not surprising, given Balaganali's demonstrated potential, which now places him at the center of a heated battle for his services. For Kentucky, however, The advantage lies in the strength of the initial contact and the lasting impression left by Balagonali's visit to Lexington earlier this year. Under the leadership of assistant coach Mike Stoops, the Wildcats program managed to create a significant connection with the linebacker, who highlighted the importance of his initial SEC offer. "I felt great receiving the offer," Balagonali told a well-known portal. "They were my first SEC offer, and that's definitely something I noticed." Balagonali's visit to Kentucky was a significant milestone in his recruitment process, and he made it clear that the familial and welcoming atmosphere of Lexington had a significant impact. The relationship he already had with Hardly Gilmore, a player from Balagonali's home state of Florida, was also an important factor. "Getting to know Hardly Gilmore, someone I know from Florida, and hearing his talk about the culture was great," the young linebacker explained. This familiarity was crucial for him to see up close what makes the Kentucky program unique. More than just the connection with Gilmore, Balagonali's relationship with coach Mike Stoops also appears to be flourishing. Stoops, a veteran with extensive experience in defense, is someone the young player quickly identified with. "My relationship with Mike Stoops is good. We have a very similar attitude towards the game, and he is definitely one of the coaches I've identified with so far," Balagonali highlighted. This alignment of mindsets between player and coach is an essential aspect of any successful recruitment, and Kentucky seems to be in a strong position in this regard. Although Balagonali has not yet designated a favorite school, he mentioned that some are tied in his consideration. However, he was clear about what he looks for in his future program. "I look for the people and the culture. I want to be somewhere where greatness is a standard that is driven within the team and not just by the coaches." This emphasis on culture and the constant pursuit of excellence is a direct reflection of the environment that Kentucky has been striving to cultivate under the leadership of Mark Stoops. Balagonali's visit to Kentucky was not his last encounter with the program. He expressed enthusiasm about returning to Lexington to watch a game at Kroger Field, which could be a valuable opportunity for the Wildcats program to further solidify this relationship. The atmosphere of an SEC game, with a passionate Kentucky fan base and the program's tradition, might be exactly what Balagonali needs to envision himself in blue and white in the future. The ability to create genuine connections and cultivate a winning culture within the program may be what makes the difference in Balagonali's final choice. What do you think? Will he commit? Leave your comment.